Marketing Pulpit Show, and I am Robert Gatewood, your host. We are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good of marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community. Now, if I happen to save a soul along the way, don't hold that against me. We'll just call that icing on the cake. Now, the mission at Marketing Pulpit Show is to build strong businesses in our community so that we can put our people to work. And we do that with business development, job creation, and service. So if you ever find yourself in a business crossroads and not sure which way to turn, just... Good morning, and glad to be here on another Friday. It is the first Friday of the month and the first Friday of 2024. So I'm hoping everybody had a prosperous beginning of their new year. We're on day 5. And also hoping everybody had a very joyous holiday season ending up in 2023. We're going to start this year off with an exciting show. I have a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about, have you ever felt sometimes that you were just warming up your customers for the next company to come along and take that customer from you? Well, it's not your imagination, because it happens all the time. You go out here, you spend the money, you get the person, get that first sale, and then you look up and they're gone, and you have not recouped your money you spent, that acquisition cost. So we're going to talk about that today and how to make sure that doesn't happen to you, and how to make sure that you don't win the sale and end up losing the customer. You don't want to be somebody's warm up. You want to be the main attraction. So it's a process. And we're going to talk about that later in the show. We're also going to talk about, we have a special guest coming on later on, Mr. Authur Hunter from Legal Chill. He's going to talk about how you can get some of those legal issues out of the way without the big bucks coming out of your pocket. And we're also going to talk about some items in the news. We're also going to celebrate this first Friday of January and some of the observances. And also we're going to talk about, it's kind of a full show today. I'm Robert Gatewood, by the way, in case anybody's wondering. And if you haven't followed me yet, it's a good time. It's a new year. It's a great time to start. Go to marketingpulpit.com. You can also find me at my company, Gatewood Marketing and Web, and that's at gatewoodmarketing.com. You can also get me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm also a professor at Prince George's Community College in the Washington, D.C. area, where I talk about marketing, branding, social media, and networking, and we just launched a new digital marketing course, and I was one of the architects of that program. And also I have written a couple of books, one called Smarter Than the Boss, one called Played in Full, and I'm also a subcontractor with the Small Business Administration in the technology area. So I've been doing this for a minute, but I'm also eager to share this information and to make sure that our community thrives and prospers, and that we don't suffer from lack of information. Also, don't forget to come out to the First Friday networking event if you're in the Washington, D.C. area. We do it the first Friday of every month. Miss Bernadette Clay and company and myself, I'll be there emceeing. We're going to kick off 2024 in grand fashion, setting goals. We're going to have 3 dynamic speakers talking about how to set those goals and how to get 2024 off on a good foot. Go to blesweets.com. Click on the events button and you will see how to register. You can also see it at Marketing Pulpit. Over in the right corner, you will see the banner for the First Friday networking event. BLE also has their 3 locations in the Washington, D.C. area. And if you're tired of working from home and feeling a little isolated, like things are passing you by, you might need to get into a new environment. And that's what BLE offers. From their 3 locations, National Harbor, Largo Center, and College Park, which is a hub zone, government hub zone. You can get out of that home and get out here and start mingling with people. And they have some affordable packages just for you. Good way to start 2024. Just tell them the Marketing Pulpit and Robert Gatewood sent you, and they got a free 2 months of mailbox services and phone answering services just for mentioning the Marketing Pulpit. So, folks, let's do something different in 2024. Can't do the same thing and expect to get the same results, get different results. This is the first week of the month for January, and then we're going to look at some observances, like, for instance, from January 1st through January 7th is Celebration of Life Week. And so let's do that. Let's celebrate life. Also, today is National Berry Day. That doesn't mean give somebody the bird. I don't think that's what they had in mind. I think they're talking about the flying kind of birds. Also this month, we're observing Be Kind to Food Servers Month. So when you go to those restaurants, let's leave that tip. I had an incident this recently where I went to the restaurant, had a nice meal and got ready to leave. I said, man, it looks a little high, but I'm not going to take it out on the server. So I threw another 20% on the bill, got home and looked at the receipt, and they had already added 18%. So this person got a 38% tip. That was his. But I said, well, let them go ahead and enjoy it. That's okay. It's also Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. So we want to make sure people are aware of that and how it has impacted people. Financial Wellness Month, Get Organized Month, Self-Love Month, National Thank You Month. Thank you very much. And some other things. This Green Tea, National Hot Tea Month. All you tea drinkers out there, this is your month. Oatmeal Month. Get my oatmeal every morning. That's my breakfast, trying to be healthy here. And Stalking Awareness Month. If you're out there stalking somebody, just stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Let's see. This is the Marketing Pulpit. As I said, I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we're here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. I want to welcome everybody who's tuning in. I see Miss Colette Jackson. Happy New Year, Sister Jackson. One of the great ladies of the 85 Beta sorority. It's glad to have her tuning in this morning. Their organization was a guest on the show around the first week in December, and they're doing some great things, particularly with people with disabilities. And so they are on my list of good people. We're going to talk about lifestyle strategies also today and how you can win the customer, win the sale, and lose the customer. But before that, let's talk about a few items in the news. Man, and the news is just hopping. First thing we're going to talk about is Miss Claudine Gray, the embattled president of Harvard University. This sister was cashing it from every corner. She was at a hearing back in congressional hearing a few months ago, and she didn't denounce anti-Semitism forcefully enough, and so they have been on her case ever since. There were two other university presidents that were there. One had already resigned, and this guy Bill Hackman, this billionaire hedge fund manager, has been on her case like white on rice. He's been hell-bent on getting her fired. And finally, she resigned under the pressure. I'm sure she was doing it for the university, but not that she was admitting that she was not deserving. But when people are putting that kind of pressure on you, then the emphasis is off the students and the school, and it's all on you. So I can understand her wanting to get from under those attacks, and it may be possibly hurting the university. But every time I see these kind of attacks by these billionaire bullies, it just reminds me of the rank hypocrisy that's going on in this country. You have a former president out here who has dozens of misdeeds, all types of transgressions, and nobody's asking him to step down. Where's this billionaire bully when he looks at some of these other people who are doing horrendous things? Hypocrisy, one thing I have no patience for is hypocrisy. It's almost like, anyway, I'm going to not go into 2024. Been out of shape over things I can't control, but we can control it by voting, getting out here to make sure we vote in people who are aligned with our values and our needs. Cat Williams he's rocked the internet. He was on this talk show by Shannon Sharp. His show is called Club Shay Shay. A little confused by that name. Every time I hear Shay Shay, I think of what the guy used to be on Martin show, Shanae. I don't know how. I think that they got the name Shay Shay from the three letters of his name, Shannon and Sharp. But I probably would have chosen a different name. Just me. I'm a branding guy, so when I see Shay Shay, and this guy pops up, it throws him. But anyway, back to the point. And welcome, Brand Leader Marlon, for tuning in today. Now he came out and he spilled the tea on the comedy circuit. He said, let me tell you some of the things he said. Man, he was taking no prisoners. He said, Cedric the Entertainer, he started out with him and said that car joke that Cedric the Entertainer does towards the end of his routine was actually stolen from Cat Williams. And there's that footage out here. They put them side by side, and it does seem like very coincidental. He also said Cedric can't dance, can't sing, and can't write jokes. And to make matters worse, he said he looked like a walrus. Cat. He said Ricky Smiley can't act unless he's wearing a dress. Dang, brother was not taking any prisoners. He said there was a rape scene in this movie called After Next Friday, and he had the rape scene removed from it. So that's a good thing. And he saved some of his greatest ire for Steve Harvey. He said Steve Harvey's show was actually a ripoff of Hanging with Mr. Cooper. And he basically called Steve Harvey a backward-talking, backstabbing liar, and who stole this concept of being homelessness from Cat Williams himself. Cat, why don't you tell us what you really think? Wow, so that's been all over the internet. If you can just go Google it and look up Cat Williams and Shay Shay. Man, that just doesn't fit Shannon Sharp. If you've seen Shannon Sharp, he does not look like a Shay Shay. I'm just saying. Let's wrap up the news here. There was a pastor. Remember we had our segment last year called the war in the workplace. I thought it was over. I thought people had come to their senses, but it seems not so fast. A pastor tried to push the head of his wife's coworker in a vat of hot grease at McDonald's. I'm not sure now that is a pastorly deed. Could be me. Things may have changed since I went to church last week. It wasn't that long ago. Maybe since last week. Things have changed now where it's okay to push your wife's co-worker's head into a boiling hot grease. I don't think so. Anyway, this young lady complained that her co-worker was harassing her, disrespecting her. She told her husband, and the husband said, that's not gonna stand. So he came down, punched the person in the face, and tried to push his head in a boiling hot boiling grease. The engineer said he was trying to anoint him with oil. Well, several employees pulled him off the guy, and he had a large contusion on his forehead, a black eye, and some scratches on his neck. Boy, he came out pretty light, if you ask me. Anyway, that's our news stories for today. Man, the news just keeps on coming. Golly. Anyway, we're going to talk about how you can win the sale but lose the customer, and we call that under the category of what we call customer lifetime value. I'm just going to quickly tell you now. If you go into 2024, you may be guilty of this, or you may have been the victim of this. Well, you went out and spent all this money, what we call cost per acquisition, to get a customer. The customer came in, bought your lowest price item. You gave them a break to get them in the door, and they end up going somewhere else with somebody else. That's not right. But you've got to look in the mirror when you're looking for somebody to blame, because you didn't do what we call taking customer ownership seriously enough. You have to own that customer. And we do this by building ourselves an ecosystem. And what do I mean by that? That means you have to get that customer in the door and do things to keep them. And to start the process off, don't take on these dead-end jobs that you don't want in the first place. That's one thing I learned over the past few years. Some jobs you just have to pass on. It's not worth it. They're not going to ever be satisfied. They're difficult, and you have to make sure there's a fit. That's the first thing you want to do. And you have to constantly introduce new products and services to keep your database interested. You ever see McDonald's and these places where when they're not pushing people's head down in hot grease, they are actually always introducing something new. They got a McRib one day, which is pretty good. I know you think it's probably a terrible product for your health, but man, that thing is pretty delicious. Anyway, back to the topic here. You have to keep introducing new things. Maybe do new sizes, do some bundle packs, do different colors, maybe a man's version, a woman's version, or other version. You gotta mix it up. Even with services, you might look at adding different services to keep your customers engaged and exciting. You have to listen to what they're saying. Listening doesn't necessarily mean just with your ears, but you have to pay attention to what people are doing and saying. Look at recurring and subscription type sales. What are you offering that can be put on a subscription basis? Like in my service, we have certain services that are on subscription, like your hosting service, your internet domain, your SSL certificate. You're going to pay those services every month, every year, if you want to keep those services alive. And I don't have to go chasing you down every month to do it. Think about your service. What can you put on subscription so that customer is not abusing you and using you for a warm-up act to go somewhere else. Think about affiliate programs to get other people reselling your products and reseller programs. Do something special every now and then. Offer a discount for that customer that you have to keep them happy and on your good side. Also, suggest complementary products on what you're offering. I gave you the example. If you buy a web domain, you're going to need some hosting. So when they're doing the checkout or when you're in that sales mode, make sure you're offering them those other items that get them locked into that ecosystem that you have. Also, invest in yourself a good CRM program, customer relationship management tool, so you can track that customer as they meander through your process, from the lead, from the prospect, to the customer, to the anniversaries, new products. Make sure you have a history of them and you can better serve them. And last but not least, you do have to follow up. You have to be a follow-up person if you're going to keep that customer. And the point I'm making today, ladies and gentlemen, yes, you can get the sale, but end up losing the wallet if you don't do these things or something similar to keep that customer engaged, coming back for multiple sales. You can actually lose. It's like the win the battle but lose the war. So I'm asking you today, make sure that you take steps to keep that customer and not having them to go somewhere else. Got a break coming up. I'm checking with my engineer to see if our guest is on board yet. Engineer, the guest here yet? Let's see here. We are going to take a quick break. Mr. Engineer, speak to me. Is our guest here? Okay, I guess the guest is not here. Let's keep talking. All right. Now, also, as we go into 2024, we want to make sure that you have heard of the 4 P's of marketing. Okay? The 4 P's of marketing: product, price, promotion, and place. Now, this is, to many of you, that's old shoe. But we have to brush up on that every now and then to make sure that we're not missing out on some opportunities to go into 2024 better prepared than we left 2023. And you're listening to the Marketing Pulpit Radio Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. And go to marketingpulpit.com. You can watch the show right on the home by going to marketingpulpit.com. And you can also follow us on the various social media platforms. That's YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on LinkedIn. And we're on all things Marketing Pulpit. And also go to the website. And also, you can actually go to my LinkedIn page and find out more about me personally. Let's see here. Talking to the engineer here. Do we have our guest on board yet? Okay, I seem to have lost connection with my engineer here. Testing 1, 2, 3. Mr. Engineer, this is the Marketing Pulpit. Okay, our guest is apparently not here. Let's talk about these 4 P's of marketing. Now, the first one we're going to talk about as we go into 2024, and to make sure you're doing the right thing, is product. Now, what I've been asking people to do is to constantly reevaluate the products and services that you're offering. Markets change, people change, the environment changes, things are happening all the time. The products that you're offering right now, are they still a fit for the audience you're going after? Is there a match? And you're going to find out in many cases, you haven't looked at this since you started 20 years ago. There's been a seismic shift in many of these industries. And you have to go back and make sure that you are on top of things. You have to also make sure that how it has been impacted by something like artificial intelligence. AI is real. And there are many instances now where artificial intelligence has impacted industries, and some of the services that you're offering right now, you're not just competing against the company next door or down the street or on the internet, you're actually competing with artificial intelligence. Also, look at your pricing model, because there is right now a downward pressure on pricing. In other words, there is a We're going to take a quick break. Hang on a second. This is the Marketing Pulpit. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. So hang on. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in a moment. So, okay. Mr. Hunter is actually calling my number. Is the guest there, Alonzo? Okay. Can you call out, Alonzo? Okay, I'm gonna have you to. I'm gonna go to a break here and have you to call him if you can, because I'm not able. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, technology when it works. Welcome to the Marketing Pulpit Show, and I am Robert Gatewood, your host. We are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good of marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community. Now, if I happen to save a soul along the way, don't hold that against me. We'll just call that icing on the cake.
Have you ever experienced a consumer finance issue, traffic ticket, real estate transaction, landlord, renter, or medical bill dispute? During these times, a reputable lawyer can provide a sense of confidence, but lawyers are expensive, costing anywhere between $110 and $350 per hour. There's a better way. Legal Shield, a legal protection service that gives you direct access to a dedicated provider law firm for an affordable rate, so you don't have to worry about high
On board. We have an interesting guest today, Mr. Authur Hunter, and he's going to talk about. I'm sure you've heard of Legal Shield, and they're a company that provides affordable legal services. If you have something like get pulled over by a cop, you're involved in a lease landlord agreement. If you're involved in some medical issues, you need somebody to write a letter, get on the phone, do some legal work, then Legal Shield has been an option for many. And many people have heard of it, but they've never actually spoken to anyone involved in Legal Shield. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring on my guest right now. So without further ado.
Hello, Mr. Gatewood. Good morning.
Mr. Hunter, thank you for joining us this morning. Had a little technical issue getting you on here, but I'm glad we have you right now. So we have to get straight to the point.
All right.
Tell us exactly what it is that you do and what kind of services your company offers.
Well, I am a manager and associate with Legal Shield. We've been around for more than 50 years. You might have heard us called prepaid legal. But if you have trouble getting a lawyer, if you are a member of Legal Shield, you have access to lawyers in all 50 states and Canada. And basically, getting a lawyer is very expensive. If you're a member of Legal Shield, you pay a monthly fee of $29.95, which will cover you and your family and children in the household who are living at home up to age 23. And you have access to a lawyer 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with an emergency Legal Shield app that you can put on your phone.
Let me ask you this. I saw an ad the other day where a lady was pulled over by the police and she was able to get representation. Now, what are some other examples of where you can get representation using Legal Shield?
Well, there are a number, basically anything. If you want to change your name, if you have a contract problem, if you have a renter-tenant disagreement, if somebody is trying to sue you, if the laundromat ruins your clothes and they won't pay for it, you contact your Legal Shield lawyer, you have them represent you, you have them speak for you, and it's taken care of.
So if somebody, let's say, I know they provide legal advice. What kind of legal advice? Give me some examples of that. I mean, what?
Well, say for example, somebody might be trying to sue you.
Okay.
Somebody might be trying to sue you. You have access to a lawyer. You can speak to them on any issue as many times as you want. And usually when you contact the lawyer, they start a clock ticking and they're charging you for their advice. Well, Legal Shield lawyers, because you're in that consortium of law firms, basically you can speak to them on any issue as many times as you want.
Now, if you have, like, let's say, if you happen to be married or have kids, are they covered by the plan?
They are covered as long as they're living at home up until age 23.
So you can have one of those bad kids out there that's doing all kind of havoc, but as long as they're under 26 and living at home, or 23, they're still covered under that plan.
Yes, I'll tell you something that happened. One of our Super Saturday events, a lady told her son had gotten stopped by the police. He's black. He's in a car with 4 of his friends. They had done something. He had nothing to do with it. They got arrested. They were taken to jail, but because he was a Legal Shield member covered by his parents' plan, he was able to contact the lawyer, and the lawyers got him basically released from the court system within a few hours.
Wow.
But his friends had to spend quite a bit of time in jail until their parents came up with the bail.
That's an amazing story. Mr. Hunter, tell us, you have an event coming up. Tell us about this event.
Yes, it is January 13th at 11 o'clock. It is at 3501 University Boulevard East, College Park, Marriott in Hagerstown, Maryland. There's a gentleman who's going to be speaking there. For those of you who remember a store called Up Against the Wall, the gentleman, Darnell Self, he used to be a manager at the Up Against the Wall at Landover Mall.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dating myself because I'm going to Landover Mall. He was signed up as a Legal Shield associate by Brian Carruthers of Carruthers Real Estate. Well, Mr. Self, now he is a Legal Shield millionaire. I've met him many times. He has spoken in my behalf to some of my friends. Very wonderful gentleman. Everybody should come there and meet him and speak to him. Very, very helpful and approachable gentleman. And if you are unemployed or underemployed and you want something, you can spend 10 minutes a day when we're speaking to people, because it's a networking platform.
Mr. Hunter,
it's a great way to make it.
We're going to run out of time, so I want to make sure you get all your contact information in there. Is there a way somebody can find out more about the event or about you?
Yes, please contact me. My phone number is 240-432-6124. My email address is email address is A is in Alpha, E is in Echo, L is in Lanier, H is in Hunter, 1988 at yahoo.com. And an address you can look at some presentations for Legal Shield is aehunter.wearelegalshield.com.
Mr. Hunter, thank you again. This has been great information. Make sure everybody goes out and check out this presentation. Mr. Hunter, we'll have to have you back when we have more time. Thank you again, folks. That's Authur Hunter from Legal Shield. We'll put his information on the website and on the platform. So thank you again, Mr. Hunter, for joining us on the Marketing Pulpit Show. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for today. This is the Marketing Pulpit. We are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. And if you want to be successful, you have to do these 3 things. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you have to do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work.
Have you ever experienced a consumer finance issue, traffic ticket, real estate transaction, landlord, renter, or medical bill dispute? During these times, a reputable lawyer can provide a sense of confidence, but lawyers are expensive, costing anywhere between $110 and $350 per hour. There's a better way. Legal Shield, a legal protection service that gives you direct access to a dedicated provider law firm for an affordable rate, so you don't have to worry about high hourly legal fees. Legal Shield provides legal advice and consultation, document review and preparation, a letter or phone call made on your behalf, and even court representation for covered matters. Use the plan for an unlimited number of personal legal needs like will preparation, auto-related events such as traffic tickets, family matters including adoption, bankruptcy and debt, buying or selling a home, neighbor disputes, and more. 100% of matters are handled in-network with no claim forms required. Plan participants can expect a callback from a provider attorney within 4 business hours or less. Legal documents are reviewed within 3 business days, and wills are prepared within 5 business days. With the Legal Shield mobile app, you can call your dedicated provider law firm, request a consultation at a date and time most convenient to your schedule, and even upload documents, including speeding tickets and even images to further explain your matter directly to your provider law firm for legal review. The Legal Shield plan provides coverage for the participant, participant's spouse, and eligible dependent children under the age of 26.